Hello YouTube. We're going to go over basic CSS style syntax and jumping right into it. Every style that you create in your style sheet is going to have three elements to it. The first one is called the selector. The second one is called the property. And the third is the value. Now, basically the selector portion would be the who do you want to affect of the site. Just keep that in mind. While the property is the what do I want to change about its default look. The third is the value. And the third portion is the how do I want it to look. So that's where you're getting specific. Now, basic syntax would look like this, something like this. It would go selector, or if you wanted to give it a more specific name, you might use selector underscore name, but you definitely don't want to use selector space name. Then it won't work. You want to have that underscore in the name of the selector. Okay? And then curly braces after the name of the selector, the property, followed by a colon, and then its value. Now each property has its own unique set of values. Okay? And also at the end of every property set, you need to have a semicolon. So here we have a selector, we have the curly brace, property, and a value, and then we got this semicolon separating it from the next property and value. Semicolon, next set of property and value. Semicolon, next property and value, and so on and so on. And then at the last one, you put, after the last property that you want to affect, you go ahead and put that closing curly brace. Now, another cool thing about CSS to keep in mind is that there are many ways of organizing your styles on your style sheet. You can go with something as simple as this. You can go with a single line organization style, which works sometimes. It depends on how many styles you have. Or you can even go with the multiple line. Like you can separate it just like this. You can use the enter key. As you can see here, I've used the enter key to separate multiple ones. Now if I was using a single line, let me show you what a single line would do. If I just kept going, see how that says line 15, and even though there are 3 lines here, I'm still on my line 15. That's because there's no word wrap on this single line. See how I just selected that whole thing with one click? No word wrap. You're selecting line number 15 and they all belong on that one line. Here you're using the enter button to spread your styles out over multiple lines, and that's okay too. And each one of them, you're gonna have your own way of doing this. Me personally, I prefer this this method here, but that's just me. Actually, when I first started out, I used this more because it enabled me to look at each individual property and value, and then I could just move on to the next one. So like if something was wrong, it was really easy for me to go back and troubleshoot all the different values, properties and values. So that's very important to remember. Also, keep in mind that you can use multiple selectors, as we see here, where we have selector 1, selector 2, 3, and 4 all in a group. Okay, and then we just use property and value the same way we have, but we use multiple selectors here, which is really cool. Alright, now we're going to come over here real quick and we're going to take a look at our style sheet and we see how all of this applies. We have our tag, our paragraph tag, which affects all the paragraphs in our HTML document, and we're changing the color, which is our first property, and its value is red. We're also changing the background color to gray. Semicolon, border, and this has multiple values, and we'll get into this a little bit later. But you see on this page, you see how it all kind of comes into effect. This is what a typical CSS page will look like. Alright, next tutorial, we're going to go over some more basic syntax rules. Thanks for viewing.